everyone has their own opinions about what's going through in tech leadership, but instead of just lamenting what's happening, I want to state what I'm actually seeing and what I expect to happen in 2026. These are my 5 hot takes. If you want, you can agree with some, you might hate some, but again, that's what I'm seeing. And if you want to let me know your thoughts, let me know in the comments. By the way, if you're new here, hi, I'm with Ben-Yosef. I'm a tech executive, coach, and advisor, and I help people just like you turn R&D from the biggest expense to the company's biggest advantage. Of course, these hot takes are relevant, so let's get into it. Number 1 is about team sizes. For years now, I've been saying that team sizes need to be probably bigger than most, because in many startups going through hypergrowth, etc., I used to see many nano teams, like 2-3 people forming a team, which I said creates way too much managerial overhead. Now with AI, what we're seeing is the pendulum swinging all the way to the other side, where people are saying, oh no, now with AI, people can do so much. We can have one manager over 10-15 people. I think that actually both are wrong. What we want is teams where people have enough managerial attention. And that's because now with AI, actually what we're going to be seeing, if you're not seeing it already, is that each person can move faster, but that faster motion requires a lot more communication, because now it's not as if we're just letting people sit inside, I don't know, caves and talk to their LLMs and coding agents and spew out code. But if you're doing proper work, you have a lot of communication going on, and there's actually often a lot more synchronization needed. And therefore, if we have too big of a team, things get lost way more easily, or management becomes a bottleneck. So I think that eventually, once the dust settles, people will realize that still pizza-sized teams make sense. You still want the 5, 6, 7, 8 tops people who are together in the same team, which allows enough of attention for the manager, the team lead, to manage them in a way that's effective and gives them enough broadband. And also, if you have too big of a team, even if I'm putting aside the product work, it means that people will not be getting enough coaching attention. And I think that that's a huge part of what leadership in tech should mean. How are we making our people grow and improve? If you're just looking at management as in the person in charge of getting everything to ship on time, you're cutting managerial responsibilities by half, if not more. You want to ensure that your people get that attention to grow. So, number 1, team size, whatever you're seeing right now, will settle across pizza-sized teams, give or take. Aim there if you're already making some changes. Number 2, be careful what you wish for, because things are changing, all right? For years, people have told me that they wanted to see themselves being able to ship things way faster, that product, we're always saying that tech was the bottleneck, etc. Again, that's happening. For many teams now, they're able to move much faster. And yet, this should only be seen as a means, not an end. When we just look at things, okay, we're going to ship whatever we can as fast as possible, you miss out on what you're actually supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be creating value, not just spewing out code. So if you're moving faster, that's not automatically good news. What I think is going to happen, and I'm already seeing it all over the place, is that many teams will end up in some sort of performative productivity, as in they will be shipping a lot. Maybe all your metrics for PRs will explode and you feel like we're moving faster. But when it comes to actually moving the needle, doing things that benefit the business, you just might be doing things wrong. You just might be even harming it. Why? I gave the example years ago that when I was working as a super freelancer, allowing business people to get things done much faster, disconnected from their slow engineering organizations, sometimes it was magic. Other times it just was an amazing way for them to spend so much time doing nothing, because I saw that we were iterating on things without thinking about it, without taking a second, because they were used to saying, okay, I need X, And their engineering organization would say, okay, X requires 2 months. If you hear 2 months, you're going to be rethinking, descoping, etc. But when they came to me and said X, and I said, a week or two, we're like, oh, hey, that's super fast. Just go ahead and do that. And that meant that sometimes we're just, getting to business value faster. Other times we're doing things without proper due diligence, without proper descoping, without doing some testing before finding the smaller version first step, because the cost was seen as low enough. But that ended up being wasted effort because we didn't maximize our thinking, our learning, the insights from each one of those iterations. And the same happens now. I'm seeing it all over the place. People are just spewing out code. They get tasks and more features in their Jiras and are just letting coding agents run free, trying to orchestrate all of that. Orchestrate sounds good. It sounds better than, flailing your hands in the air, but that's essentially what we're doing. And if you want to deliver proper value, you need to, again, be careful what you wish for. Take a second and tell your team how to push back effectively, how to not measure only whether we're getting more PRs out, but actually also the ultimate business goals, the outcomes, the objectives that hopefully people are being measured for, that are your company's KPIs and OKRs. Because with that, you can actually make sure that you're aligned with what drives proper value. Don't just do work for the sake of doing work. Do it when you think that you are maximizing insights, maximizing learning, and driving the company forward. Most startups don't actually know everything and just need to execute. That's very rarely the case. They need to be iterating and learning, and you need to ensure that you're not just doing things because you can, but that you're maximizing on the value from each one of those iterations. Otherwise, you're going to be accumulating so much code and so many features that will bloat your code base, make things that much harder for proper UX, for your customer success, for your costs, for changing things. Even the LLMs are going to suffer with a huge code base. Everything is going to get much harder, much faster without the actual reward. Don't do that. Number 3, we're going to see so many zombie startups dying. I have another video that I'll link to somewhere here on screen about has AI killed your startups, in which I said that most startups that started right before the LLM revolution are maybe unaware but already living dead, because it requires such a big shift, such an adaptation to move towards that different sort of thinking and to utilize these new tools better, that many startups are not going to make it. Only the new ones will, rise fresh and will do things correctly. And also, of course, with the significance of your existing headcount, whatever venture capital you've already raised, etc. It just might mean that things no longer match the new world. What I'm seeing in 2026 is finally this thing that I talked about more than a year ago finally taking place. We're going to see more of that. And that means that many of these zombies are going to be closing or having these smaller acquisitions, acqui-hires, etc. And for those that somehow maintain the zombie status, they are seeing and will see even more senior tech leaders and senior engineers leaving ship. People who have given places that they love a big chance. They've waited for a lot of time, maybe tried to push things, but for myriad reasons, they see that the AI adaptation is not going well enough. They realize that this is a dead end or not going to be moving as fast as it needs to, or that they're seeing all the different opportunities around them, and these senior, valuable, experienced people will be moving ship. If you're a co-founder and you sense that that's the situation, you need to get moving faster. If you've been trying and haven't made it yet, get some external help. My email's in the video description, or face reality. If you're leading a team, or if you're one of those senior leaders and you realize that that's what's happening, first, to put it bluntly, maybe that's as it ought to be. Not all startups will make it, sometimes for reasons outside of their own control. Or if you genuinely believe that something can be done, go to the people who have the power to change things and, do everything within your power to push towards it, because otherwise just staying in limbo makes no sense. Number 4, the silver bullet expectation is fading, which I think is a good thing. We see a lot of CEOs, boards, whatever, saying, hey, now with AI, we have to be moving 10 times faster, etc. People are coming to grips with the fact that this is not a perfect solution. Things will not magically get 10 times better just because we're using coding agents. Look at all of the best companies in the world around us. They're not moving 10 times faster, at least almost no one is. And therefore, the expectations are becoming more real and more connected to reality, which is good. And still, the pressure to at least show some genuine improvement is going to go up. So those who had expectations that were unreal are going to go down, but those companies that till now did not change things, and this connects exactly to the previous hot take, will start putting a lot more pressure to see something happening. And that means that you want to ensure that your team is delivering reliable changes, is actually growing, experimenting, and is not lagging behind, and also not trying to do things that are not sustainable just in order to keep up with that 10x sort of mindset. If you somehow got there, having talked to, I lost count, over 100 people recently, I can say that maybe 1 or 2 claim to be 10x faster. These are usually extremely small companies. These are not numbers that anyone else essentially is seeing. So don't fool yourself. And still, you can aim at a much better rate, at much better impact if you do things correctly. So the silver bullet is gone, but the pressure is not going to be entirely gone, and that's a good thing. And number 5, you no longer have a monopoly on tech. Some of you maybe didn't have it before, but till now, most of the companies I work with, whenever the CTO, the VP of engineering said something is going to take too long, too not possible, too big, too costly, whatever, the company had to come to grips or maybe try to replace that executive. That's like what they could do. What I'm seeing right now is that those tech organizations that are laggards are seeing all of a sudden the CMO or someone from customer success, whatever, vibe coding the solutions, showing them that things are possible, and they're slowly or sometimes fast losing track with what's happening in the company. They are no longer the monopoly, they are no longer the leaders of tech in the company, and the most exciting things start drifting from your responsibility. That means often that things are not being done effectively, that you're gonna get a big spaghetti bowl with things going all over the place, maybe a lot of security issues, regulatory issues, you don't want to get there. And also your best tech people are going to be looking outside and saying, why are we not there? And they're going to get very, very demotivated. So all of that to say that you have to start moving faster, or you're going to see the sexiest projects, the budgets, and the confidence all getting sucked out of your company, out of your organization. You will no longer be trusted, and it's going to be a lot harder to fix things. These are my 5 takes. Let me know what you think about them. Again, if you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comments or in my email that's in the video description. I'd really like to hear. If you like this, please like and subscribe. It really helps. And I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.